here to celebrate National English Day with you all. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about language learning strategies. And because I am actually an English teacher, so what I wanted to talk to you about specifically would be English language learning strategies. But, you know, apart from English being my native language, and of course I studied English, but I studied it in a very different way than you all. So we can talk about learning different languages too. Also, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from the United States. I'm from Austin, Texas. Write in the comments, have you been to the United States? If you have, tell me where, right? Has anyone been to Texas? I'm from Austin, Texas, so it should be easy to remember because it's the same as my name. All right. Okay. I'm living here in Taiwan right now, actually. I came here 7 years ago to learn Chinese. So I speak Chinese and Japanese, and that's what I studied my bachelor's degree in, was Japanese. And I did my master's degree in diplomacy because my dream is to be a foreign service officer. And that is what I'm doing right now, is interning at the US State Department. So I'm hoping one day I can become a foreign service officer, just like all of them. Um, all right. Oh, I see. Kojan also studies Chinese too. That's so cool. And he's been to California, to San Francisco. Never been there. I would love to go. All right. Don't be shy, everyone. Please write in the comments below. Tell me if you've been to the United States. Where did you go? I'll be asking questions. Please be vocal and write in the comment box. All right. And yes, I love studying foreign languages. So this is a topic that is dear to my heart. Dear to my heart means it's important to me. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about English Language Day, right? So that's a very cool holiday. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. Then we're going to talk about the history of English. And we're going to also talk about some resources for learning English. All right, now I won't be talking this entire time. I will talk for about 5 minutes and then we'll have a discussion. So I encourage you all to participate and respond to me and share. We can all talk about resources that we like and our experiences, right? Um, Also, I'll talk about some English language tests. Now, I haven't taken any of these tests, but there are so many tests out there, it can get so confusing. I've broken them down for you all so we can kind of talk about which test should you take? Should you take a test? What do the tests do? They all have different functions. So they all have different goals. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about some English learning strategies. I'll tell you how I learned languages and how I teach languages. And I hope that maybe you can share with me a little bit about what you've been doing to learn languages too. All right. And of course, we're going to talk about culture, right? You can't separate language and culture. So I'll talk about the importance of culture, and I'll talk a little bit about American culture in the presentation too. And I hope to hear about your culture as well and your cultural differences. You know, what have you found is so different between, you know, the culture of the language you are studying and your own culture. So we can talk a little bit about this too. All right, I'm going to take a look at the comment section. All right, someone's just studying English. Oh, learning Turkish. I see learn Turkey. I'm thinking you mean you're learning Turkish. Turkish is the language um, uh, and the people, right? Very cool. Oh, yes. Icon also studied Chinese. Very cool. All right. Very cool. We can talk a little bit about that later, everyone. Okay, going on to the next slide. So English Language Day, maybe some of you haven't heard about this day, but actually it's celebrated on April 23rd. Um, and yeah, why is it celebrated on that day? It's because it is William Shakespeare's birthday? Has anyone heard of William Shakespeare? You can write in the, yes. Okay, tell me what did he do? Why is he important? Genius person. I like that. I like that response. Of course, everyone's heard of them. But can you tell me what was he? Was he a movie star? Was he a professional athlete? What was he? Romeo and Juliet? Yes. He's a poet. That's right. Yeah, there's another word. He's a writer. Yes. All right. Yes, and he's a British writer. Very cool. A famous writer, a big person. A historical figure is another thing we say. He's a historical figure. He's a very famous person. All right. And so the first English language day was in 2010. All right. So I won't talk too much more about that, but I have some very interesting stuff to talk about, and that is the history of English, right? So I'm sure everyone knows that English is from England, but maybe you did not know, and this is where we're getting into the linguistics. I'm sure that Kojan, I believe Kojan, maybe Kojan can tell me a little more about this too. Maybe you didn't know this. English is a Germanic language. All right, that means it's in the same family as German. And you can see here in the top right how it started this Proto-Germanic language. All right, and then it moved all the way down, and now we have this English today. All right, and oh, I see Kojan has raised his hand. Kojan, if you want to say something, please do unmute your microphone uh, and talk to us. Kojan. Kojan, I see your hand is raised. You can unmute your microphone if you want to say something, if you want to share with us. All right, I'll continue. Oh, yes, I hear someone.
Okay. Hi, guys. I wanted to talk about a little bit, of course, not so much. Yes, English is Anglo-Saxon language, and it's not Germanic language like nowadays. It's all Germanic language. And I want to tell about a little bit Shakespeare. He's a second famous, not writer, how is it? Sometimes some history say that he wasn't real person nowadays. However, somebody said that it was a woman, or it was a 3 or 5 person, and right how's it? The first time he wrote comedian. In the middle of his life, he wrote tragedy. In the last time of he wrote tragic thing, and he is famous because he was at time the first person who made theater, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, very cool. Yes. So more on Shakespeare, and yes, you're absolutely right. It doesn't even sound like German anymore. And why is that? So what happened to this language? How did it change so much? Well, actually, it has taken on lots of loan words from many different languages. In fact, English, it has it's it's one of the languages with more loan words than other languages. Not the most, but it has many loan words from lots of different languages. And a huge one is French, actually, with 29%, and Latin also 29%, and 6% Greek. So when you're looking at a piece of French and a piece of German, you would probably recognize more words from a piece of French or a piece of German, even with not having studied the language at all. And this is because it's for many reasons. These loan words, they entered the language during many different times. For example, the French came from the Norman conquests of 1066. So I'm sure everyone has heard of Normandy, right? Normandy, France. Well, yes, from here, the French language actually entered into England. And actually, many of the kings and queens spoke French. And that's how we got a lot of the words. And as for Latin, many words came through the Roman Empire or Christian missionaries, the Renaissance, the scientific revolution. And also, yes, we have many Greek and Latin prefixes. So I thought that was very interesting. Like some of the numbers you hear, like bi and tri, bicycle, tricycle. Um, these are, Greek and Latin. Um, yes, all right. So you can see right here lots of words, like root words, like aqua. That means water. All right, astro means star. So we have words like aquifer or astrophysicist, right? And I'm sure you probably have lots of loan words in your own language or languages you have learned. So I was hoping we could talk about them. I have a few questions here. What loan words do you know of in the English language? And what language are they from? All right. So please feel free to write in the comment box, or you can go ahead and unmute your microphone and you can share with us. All right. I see Miras, maybe. Miras, it has his hand raised. Would you like
Yes,
to
yes.
share with us?
Yes, I can say some,
Yeah,
Russian
do.
words that was loaned from English or Greece, For example, the words, for example, skateboard. We use word skateboard in usual life in Kazakhstan, in Russia, but it's not our word. Or for example, alternative. We use word альтернативный in Russian language, but it's also not our word. And as I know, all words that started from F, it's not Russian words, it's words from another countries, as I know.
Oh, I see. I see.
As I
That
know,
is so
yes.
interesting. Very cool. Yeah, can you tell us some of these words that start with F?
For example, no, for example, формативный. As I know, it's not our word. Do you know word formative? Or
Maybe
it's not yours?
I don't know. Formative? It
Yeah.
depends on how you use it. Like informative or
Yeah, yes, something like
oh,
this.
okay, okay.
Actually, it's hard to
Of course.
memorize examples when you're talking.
Of course. But yes, that's very interesting.
Mhm.
So you have a
I want to
whole
add something.
all right.
Do you hear me?
I do.
Okay, hello everyone. Um, the first question is about what loan words do you know of in the English language? I guess there are pretty much of French words because something that pops up in my mind is entrepreneur and like restaurant and déjà vu. Some of these, and then what else? I guess from French a lot. Yeah. And do you know of any English loan words in Russian Kazakh? There are a lot of them, like hell of a much. So I guess like team building and training, teammate, in like this game industry, there are lots of loan words, like in Russian. Game users, game players use them as Russian words, and like in Instagram, there are lots of like terms that are originally come from English.
Very
For example, we
cool.
say like stories, to post stories. Yeah. So yeah, it's casual, and I don't really not notice them because for example, in feminist community, there are lots of these terms like mansplaining, and then what else, like a lot of them, and they become like our words, natural. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say the same for the English loan words as well. Would anyone else like to share?
Can I?
Yes.
I know two words which are loaned to two English words which are loaned to French. That's fiancé and beautiful. Beautiful made from the word beau, and fiancé is translated from French. Something like this.
Very cool. All right. Anyone else want to share with us?
For example, another word, film. We all know what is film. Or, for example, fictive, like not real. We also use it in Russian language. It's like another example for our scene.
Maybe bon appetit as well. We say it all the time.
Yes, absolutely. Same with us. We say it too.
You know
right.
what? Actually, we use, this abbreviation of laughing out loud, lol, and we use this
Yes.
like in real life in Russian. We just say like lol, and it's became like a culture. I don't know, like pretty usual.
Yeah, that is so cool because actually we don't say it out loud typically. We just write it. But that is so funny that it's become something you guys say out loud to each other. Very interesting.
Yeah,
All right.
and we did an upgrade.
Very cool. All right. Well, I'm going to go on to the next one, everyone, but do please share. You can always share on this topic in the next discussion time. So I'm going to go over some resources for learning English. And I've used these resources when I'm studying languages too. And the first one I'll talk about is italki. Italki is great. Has anyone ever used italki? Feel free to write in the comments below. Italki is not for free. It's one of the not free ones I'll be talking about today. But you can go on there and you can get private lessons from people and they will teach you. It's like you find your own teacher kind of thing. But there is a free thing you can do. They have language exchanges on there. And I really recommend finding a language exchange partner where you teach them your language and they will teach you theirs. So, I mean, lots of people are studying Russian. I think the market would be bigger for Russian than Kazakh, but of course you can find some people who are trying to learn the languages you speak, and then you can teach them your language and they will teach you whatever language you're trying to study. There are definitely plenty of English speakers out there who can teach you, right? And you can interact with. It's a great method. The next one I'll talk about is Netflix. I love Netflix a lot because it has the subtitles and it has movies in all kinds of different languages. So what I usually do is I'll watch a movie I want to, like a Chinese movie or something, and it has the Chinese subtitles. You can turn on the Chinese subtitles, and when you don't understand, you can read the subtitles. And if you really don't understand, you look up the words in your dictionary. If you still don't understand, you can change the subtitle language to your native language, like English, right? And the whole sentence will be translated. And that's a really great way to understand, oh, this is actually what this means if you are having trouble with some idiom or something like that. So I think that is a great tool. Another one is Engu. Engu is great because it is totally free, and they've got all kinds of resources to for reading and learning. They've got listening practice on there. Basically, it is sorted by level, and you can click on what you want to read about, and it will have the vocabulary words. It's like having a bunch of free textbook materials online, and you don't have to pay for it or sign up or anything. You just kind of start using it. So that's really great. And also, if you're trying to teach some languages, like I'm an English teacher, right? I use Reddit and SlideShare a lot for teaching materials, worksheets, things like that. You could definitely go on there and print out these materials, and you could test yourself, or you could teach your children or your friends. That's also a really great material right there. All right, so now I want to hear from all of you. What resources do you use when you're studying or teaching a foreign languages? All right, what resources do you like? What resources didn't work for you? All right, can you all share with me? All right, I see.
Can I tell you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mine is like favorite one is real life English. It started as YouTube channel courses, and then they have YouTube courses, and also they have a free app where you can at the button just speak with learners around the world. Yeah, and that's a good practice.
Oh, very cool. You should write it in the comment box so everyone can see it too. Very cool. All right, who's next?
Can I?
Yeah, go right ahead.
You showed us some apps to learn English or teach foreign languages, but I don't know any of them. And the only one which I use for my pronunciation is Keough. Here I just listen for the native speakers, and then I try to speak like them.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, those are great tools, because I think listening to the native speaker is one of the most important parts, so you can, mimic what they are saying and understand like the intonation and everything. So that's great. And you can go ahead and take another look at this page. You can take out your phone and take a picture of these right here. You can remember them for later if you want. I'll leave this page open for a second, and maybe you can try some of these resources too. All right, who else wants to share?
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Well, my favorite resources that I would like to use are apps, and different apps. It could be flashcards. It is easy to learn how to say vocabulary of different languages. So I like to use it with YouTube, because when you have new words, you can just add a flashcard with that meaning. So it will be easier to just learn by heart. Yes.
Very cool. Yeah, another flashcard app is called Anki. I'll write it in the comment box. And everyone, after you share, please do write them in the comment box so everyone can just look back and see what application you're using, because sometimes it's hard to remember what someone said before. So there it is. I put it in there. Anki is great. It's free also, and it's for flashcards. All right, who else wants to share?
I want to say that I usually use app Quizlet. And also I have English courses that helps me to learn English. And also I watch films and serials in English. I usually watch it with subtitles and writing sometimes new words that I'm interested in.
That is a great idea. Yes, and actually, I'm still a big fan of traditional classes. I took two years of Chinese in a Chinese language center, and now I still take one-on-one lesson like once a week just to learn like interesting stuff. So yeah, I love language classes for sure. All right, anyone else want to share?
May I?
Yes, please.
Okay. I use application Tandem. So it is like you can chat with the another like countries that who are learning English or the other languages. So this is the app that you can chat with. And also YouTube is my best friend to learn languages, especially English. So I like to watch a lot of videos like it, what else? Also movies, TV shows really helps to me. Also Anki, I know this. I used to learn new vocabulary to gain my vocabulary. So it's kind of flashcards. Yeah, you can like learn new words from there. So that's it. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing. All right, anyone else want to share?
And I, hello everyone. I try to watch movies from application Puzzle Movies, and then I use SpeakPic for call with English users. We just talk to each other in English.
Very cool. All right. Yeah, I think talking is so important. It's my favorite thing to do with my foreign languages. It's why I learn foreign languages. And yeah, I think it's so important to be brave and go out there and speak, right, to some native speakers. All right. Who's next?
May I?
Yes, yes.
I think YouTube is great. Actually, I would recommend watching interviews with your favorite actors or actresses, singers, like artists, so that you like it's his or she's your favorite actor, and it's really awesome to listen them speak. So I think it's a great resource, like YouTube. And Netflix, amazing, and TikTok is also good if you follow the right people, like teachers, so they have subtitles. Yeah, it's really fun.
Very cool. Yes, thank you for sharing. All right. Anyone else want to share with us? I see some hands raised still. Please don't be shy. Just go ahead and start talking.
Hi everyone. I use YouTube channel to improve my listening skills, and I watch a lot of video in English. And to memorize new words, I use flashcard, and I read about that. And I also use English file books. I have self-study. That's it. Thank you.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing. All right, I see some more hands raised. Go ahead and say.
So
go ahead
may
and
I?
tell- Yes, yes.
So firstly, the apps is don't work at me, and I like to learn English in social media, and I always see the TV shows in YouTube channel and see the watch the memes on Instagram on English, and I think it's more interesting than apps. And in my opinion, apps is a little bit boring.
Very cool. Yeah, I think everyone has their special way of studying, and that's why it's so great to share with everyone. All right, next one. I see Lisbeth. I'm sorry, I don't know how to read the Russian script very well. I think you've had your hand raised for quite some time. Would you like to speak? Or maybe Oksana?
No.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, some resources like a little bit boring, but it helps to improve my skills, English skills. And I just want to add something about Tandem. I discovered a new application for me. It's Clubhouse. It's same with Tandem. I mean, you can be able to talk there and how can I say speaking there? I mean, improving to try to improve your speaking skills there. I mean, but in the other case, it's not. I mean, there you have a kind of uh, limit of time to talk. Yeah, it's what I want to add. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. That's great for sharing. A couple we didn't hear out loud, but I see them in the comment box. Udemy. Shanar said that was a great tool. Also, puzzle movies. I think like mystery movies. That's great. And watching English series, TED Talks. I think that was a great one. TED Talks, everyone. Well, thank you all so much, everyone who commented and shared with us. So let's go on to the next one, language tests. All right, so there's so many language tests out there. Which one should you take, right? I'll talk a little bit about them. So the main we've got is the TOEFL and IELTS. So the TOEFL is a test of English as a foreign language. Now, this is what most people take here where I'm living right now in Taiwan. And lots of people, they take this to go to university abroad. And most people will take this. It's got a max score of 120 and it tests on reading, listening, speaking, and writing. I think this is one of the more common ones. And another one would be this IELTS. And this one is for if you want to study in the United Kingdom, they prefer this one. But it's also the same usage, basically. It's for people who are going to study at a university or something like that. Of course, you can use it for work too, but what I read online was that if you're trying to do anything academic, you should really choose maybe like a TOEFL or IELTS. However, if you're specifically going for work, maybe you would want to choose the TOEIC, which TOEIC is more geared towards communication. Now, there is a very significant difference between how these tests are scored, right? Like TOEFL, they have the maximum score and you could essentially fail, whereas the IELTS, it is a 1 to 9 rating. Basically, it rates your English level. Whereas the other one, basically, you kind of get a score and you could potentially fail. Whereas like if you got like, I think under 04, essentially you don't really speak English. But if you get a 4 or more, you're like in the B2 range or B1 range, and it goes up from B1, B2, C1, C2 would be like a 9. And so it's kind of a different grading scale also. I would say that is more similar to the tests that I have taken in Chinese and Japanese. I took the test of Chinese proficiency, and I also took the Japanese language proficiency test. And they were more similar to this IELTS one than the TOEFL one. But anyway, there's another type of test. There's Cambridge exams, and these are pass or fail. And it has all different levels, and you basically you test to see what level you are before you take the test, and then it will you can go and take and try and pass that level. Now, these actually, lots of children in Taiwan will take these Cambridge tests. Some children from the school that I'm teaching, they will take a Cambridge test to prepare them later for, when they want to apply for some university, and they will have to pass a TOEFL or IELTS or something. All right, so I wanted to hear from you all. Has anyone taken one of these tests before? All right, what was your experience? Have you ever taken another language test? Is there a language test I didn't mention? Do you want to tell us about it? All right, do you plan on taking one of these language tests? All right, please do share with us. All right, how about Kojan?
Could I start? Yes,
Yes.
Kojan, it's my surname. My name is Araylam.
Oh, Araylam. Thank you for
Yes,
correcting.
it's okay. I just wrote
Araylam.
like this. The first my experience with test, it was IELTS. I was third course of my university, and I pass it, and I take without any preparing, like a real Kazakh. I go to the pass this exam, and I took my band was 5.5. It was so interesting. I write essay on the paper. It was traditional form of IELTS testing system, and I was shocked when I speak with real English woman. She was so big and tall woman with really blue eyes, and her pronunciation was really like a bridge, like even Cockney maybe, I don't know. And it was really interesting because you have to pass speaking before or after the testing. I passed it before my testing because one day you will pass your speaking test, and after them one day you have to pass full of last 3 testing, like a writing, reading, and listening. And the second my experience was TOEFL IBT. It was really interesting because I never use computer with tests, and I speak with computer. It was so, how is it, interesting. And every time you look at the time, do you have time or not? Didn't have time? Like this one, it's a little bit making errors. However, I passed like a 76 or 77 band. It was like this one score. And my experience with Chinese, I passed. In Chinese, it is interesting. Do you know you have to choose your level, and after them go to the pass this level immediately. For example, maybe Cambridge test, you have to go to your level, which one you will choose. And I passed after the 4 months my studying Chinese HSK3, and it was so interesting. Yes, I have been like 200 something. I really forgot. It was 2 years ago, and it was a little bit strange than other testing because with characters and you have to write your essay. It also makes me a little bit crazy. It makes me crazy, excuse me. How it was so interesting. And I think when you pass, don't afraid, don't be shy. You will just the first time check yourself by them. And of course, the first time it will really difficult. The first time when you will pass any testing without any languages and any testing. That's all. That's my experience.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing. All right. And I see in the comment box below, some people mentioned the Duolingo test. I did see that, but I'm not familiar with that one. I know it's very new. So of course, if you want to share about that, please do. Does anyone else want to share right now? Maybe Arujan?
Can
yeah.
I?
Okay. Yeah, I also passed the NIELTS examination, and it was my first experience because I passed when I have taken it when I was 14 years old, so it was too nervous for me because I haven't passed any kind of examination which will be similar at school. So I want to I want to say some advice to the guys who want to just pass the NIELS examination. The first, I guess, my mistake personal was to not have any confidence in myself. So I guess one of the first things that you need to gain is confidence. And yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, it was 2 years ago, and I got a band 7.0. Yeah. So did you hear me?
Very cool. I did, yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, yes, we can
And
hear you.
yes, that's important. Yeah, be confident. All right. All right, who's next? Who else would like to share?
Can I? I've never taken one of these tests, and but I'm planning to. But I'm planning to. But I'm planning to take the IELTS and TOEFL tests.
Very cool. When do you want to take it?
About after about 2 years.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any problems?
All right, I just didn't hear that last part, but we can go on. Who else would like to share?
No, I can say that I don't have any experience of passing international exams, but I'm going to pass it after 1 year because I'm going to enter the university. Now I'm 10th grade, so at middle of 11th grade, I'm going to pass it. So I'm trying to prepare to this, but I'm a little bit, nervous about it. And I'm thinking a lot how I'll pass it. Will it be hard or not? So your advices is very helpful for me right now.
Oh, you got it. Actually, I just helped my friend prepare for their um, their TOEFL test, and we just did like speaking conversation. Like I looked up the test questions and I helped her answer the questions, and she wrote an essay timed herself and wrote the essay questions, and I corrected them every time for her. So I think that helped a lot. She did pass. In fact, she ended up doing worse in her speaking than her writing, which originally she felt very comfortable with her speaking and not her writing. So I think actually writing those essay questions helped her a lot. That's what she told me. So if um, that maybe isn't something you do all the time, like write timed essays. So I think that's probably an important thing to do. And then also speaking. The TOEFL, I know it is like an artificial intelligence, it's not a real person who will grade your test. So um, apparently you really have to understand the keywords and say like what they want you to say, is what I'm told. But so yeah, I would recommend try to practice those two things, speaking and writing, because maybe you don't get as much practice with those.
Yeah.
Oh, does anyone else want to share as well?
Yes, I would like to say something. I took IELTS exam 10 years ago. I would like to say that don't underestimate any of the sections, because I prepared so hard for writing because I was afraid of writing, and I thought that writing was the most difficult part, but I was wrong. I guess don't underestimate any of the sections, especially reading, because reading was the most difficult one for me, and I got like 5 points for reading. I didn't prepare that well for that section. So my advice is to like prepare for every section, you know, read, and like at least 1 or 2 months you need for preparation, I guess. So yeah, overall I got 6 and it was a great experience. Yeah, I would take it again maybe in 2 or 3 years. I don't actually need it. I'm not going to study anywhere, but just for myself, I guess. That's all. But it's a great. It was a great experience.
Very cool. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us. And I think that is great advice. All right, would anyone else like to share? I think we can do one more and then we're going to move on to the next section.
I want to say one moment. With IELTS or even in TOEFL, I think, yes, of course, every section is important. However, I think speaking and writing, it is your own knowledge. And of course, you have to try, not have to try, you need to preparing for them. However, listening and reading, it is most important because you have to know some moments, how to answer, sometimes even how to respond. They have some like, I don't know, magic moments. And the first time I was so, when I passed IELTS and took 5.5, I think why I never read about, for example, how to prepare reading, because I don't know how to respond. Sometimes they write, for example, one number and one word, and I don't mention it. And for example, I write 3 words and without any number, like this moment. Maybe it's also helped to other person. And about TOEFL IBT, it's really so interesting, and with a little bit American maybe style of language. And in IBT, the most important and difficult thing to me, it was listening, because they give you a response. You can listen it maybe twice, third time. However, you have to catch the moment. You can think that your answer is right, however it isn't, because they have some interesting moment. You have to training it before you will pass it. It is the first my mistake. I just believe by myself and never read some maybe preparing book. It's my opinion, I don't know, because writing and speaking, every time I have just my level score.
Very good. Well, yeah, thank you so much. I think that hearing everyone's testimonial, their experience, taking these tests is probably helping everyone get a good idea. Well, what should I prepare for? What should I do? Which test should I take? I think this is helping everyone a lot. All right, so we're going to move on to the next one. Don't worry, we'll have a Q&A session and more time to discuss later. The last section I wanted to talk about was English learning strategies. Okay, so I'll just talk about my own experiences, but I would love to hear about your experiences too. All right, so of course we all have to improve our speaking, listening, reading, and writing, right? So I have my own, little tips that I use for myself. And speaking, I think that just talking to people is the easiest and most enjoyable thing for me to help improve my language skills. So what I always do is go to language exchanges or try to make some friends. Now, some people probably live in a place that it's not super convenient for them to find people to talk to all the time in English. You don't always have to talk to native speakers, by the way. You can talk to other people who are learning English too, and that helps you a lot. And I did that all the time in my language school when I was first learning Chinese. I would always talk to the other classmates from Japan or Korea. They don't speak English and I don't speak Korean, so we just speak Chinese to each other, and it's a really great time. And even if your friend speaks the same native language as you, you can still do this too. However, there are some great tools out there, things like italki. I talked about that earlier. and then language exchange meetups and even couch surfing. If you are going to travel to a big city that may have some tourists, there are always these couch surfing meetups. I know that the tourism industry is not so popular right now. I think that tourism is closed in Kazakhstan at the moment, but if you do go to travel or when tourism picks back up, you can use this couch surfing app to find some meetups where people will be all meeting up together. And, you know, if foreigners are going to be coming to Kazakhstan, they're probably going to want to interact in English. This is a great way to meet some people to interact with. And of course, I'm a big fan of language schools. All right. And next for listening, I recommend practice your active listening. All right. Like really try and focus and learn every word that someone is saying, but also practice your passive listening. For example, I found that now that I'm comfortable in Chinese, what I do is I just put on some Chinese music or put on the Chinese radio. I use the Ministry of Education's radio station here in Taiwan, and I just have that playing all the time. And they're just talking about whatever, you know, science or anything, right? And I listen to it, you know, anytime I jump in the car, just put it on. And sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. It's just playing and I'm hearing it all the time. I think that this passive listening is a great option too, because it really makes you feel comfortable hearing a foreign language just as background noise. Of course, you have to actively listen too, but this is another strategy that has made me comfortable with not understanding sometimes, you know, just hearing it in big waves that it never stops. Okay, my next one, also movies, radio, TV are all great for that. Next one, reading. I think that it's important to find content you like and that is suitable for you. So I recommend like blogs are really interesting to me, like travel blogs. You can read those. Engu, I talked about that before. You know, you can rank the levels, and there's a website called News in Levels. Now, I haven't really used this website, but I know that some people are using it. I used it for Japanese. They have NHK Slow News. I used this one, and it's very cool because it has different levels of news, and you can increase the speed or decrease the speed if it's a movie, or if it's like a, you know, if there's audio, you can do that, or there'll be like, you know, written news where you can read it, and it will have like use simpler words. I think that's a really great strategy also. And for writing, I think it's just important to be typing in the language as much as you can. So you can like, you know, type in the comment box up above, you know, or you can like, you can send text messages to your friends. You can get a pen pal you can message with. I think it's just important to be creating content and thinking about like, oh, where should I be putting like the comma, you know, thinking about the grammar and everything, all that stuff. So I think it's just important that you are actively writing and thinking about, is this a grammatically sound and correct sentence before I send this? And you think about it and you just hit that send button. I think this is a great exercise for a non-native speaker who's trying to learn how to write more. Also, if you are writing all the time, you know, they're going to write really fast and you're going to be motivated to write as fast as they do, and it gets exciting. So those are my tips for you. Now I want to know, what is your special strategy for learning languages, and what aspect of English would you like to improve the most? Do you want to improve your speaking, writing, reading, or listening, and why? All right, so you can talk about these questions. You can mention questions from before, or you can even ask me any question you would like. All right, I'll open this up for the Q&A session as well. All right, so I'll go back to this one. All right, so who would like to share?
Can I start? Can I start?
Yes, please do.
My special strategy of learning English. I have a teacher for learning English, and her strategy is to give me first vocabulary and then grammar. Then we go to the reading, listening, and speaking. I also practice by listening any podcast in BBC, TED, or in YouTube, and using my app for pronunciation kick.
Very cool. Yes. All right. All right. And would anyone else like to share too?
I can share.
All right.
I have like interesting strategy for improving speaking skills. How to say? I try to imagine that I'm a blogger or some like how to say popular person, and try to speak like I'm an interviewer, and try to imagine the situation and how to say, and it's really helpful because you're just trying to speak up and say like maybe something that not true about you, but it will help for just talk and just try to use maybe new vocabulary. And and I personally I like to improve writing skills because I guess it's the hardest one. And now for like maybe 3 months I'm trying to write, but I don't think that I have any improvement in it because it's really hard without feedback or teacher who can give it feedback.
All right. Yeah, I understand. It can be tough. That's why it's always great to have someone who can help you edit those papers. I really like that idea of pretending you're a lawyer or like pretending you're being interviewed. I think that's such a great idea. All right. Who else wants to share? All right. Nurale.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. When I was speaking was in some special speaking app. So one English teacher advised me that if you wanna improve your speaking, you have to improve your reading. With help reading, you will be, your speaking will be improved, and with help of
Hello, Nurale. I think you accidentally muted yourself.
yeah. Hello, how's my voice?
Hello. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I think, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Noodlehead. Would anyone else like to share maybe some of their little tips and tricks? Or maybe you can talk about what you would like to improve?
Actually, I also hear that writing also helps to your speaking, because when you're writing, you're seeking how to write correctly, and you're trying to write like a native speaker. So you can writing helps to thought, helps to think like a native speaker. So that's why the writing also helps. And actually, I think all methods are helpful, I think. And it just depends on person and what actually will help to him.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like exercising, you can't just exercise, one part of your body or, use one part of your brain. It all really helps each other. Like you listen, you speak, you write, and it really all works together, right? Okay. Does anyone else want to share as well?
I guess reading books like novels also helps, especially if you have your favorite book, which you have already read in Russian, maybe. For example, I like to read Harry Potter because I grew up on Harry Potter's films, and I also read some of the books. So when you read it again, maybe it can help you as well. And also, the first thing which I did after learning English is download all my favorite childhood cartoons and movies, especially Disney. So when you watch something, you first you combine two, like first you're learning and then you enjoy and learn something that you love. So I always say that you should watch something that you really love, not something that you are not familiar with, for example. But if you are preparing or taking them, of course you have to read something really difficult. But if you are just learning for yourself, for example, for communication with foreigners, then it's a great idea to watch and listen and read everything that you like.
Very cool. Yeah, I like the idea of going back to those Disney movies we all grew up on
Yeah.
and using those as material. That's such a cool idea. All right. Does anyone else want to share? At this time also, if you want to ask some questions to me, I would be happy to answer your questions about anything. You can ask me about studying languages or, the United States or any questions you have, please do feel free to ask me. I think we've got about, another 10 minutes or so. We can ask some questions. Does anyone want to ask some questions?
Yes, I have one question. It's about watching films, and it's your opinion. I would like to know your opinion how to watch films. I'm watching with English film, but in which language I should choose subtitles? In Russian or in English?
Oh, I recommend you definitely choose them in English.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch the movie, and while the English subtitles are playing, you're really listening and reading. And then when you don't understand, you can pause it, look up the word in your dictionary, and like you should have some kind of dictionary app or something that is good for you, right? And then if you still don't understand it with the English subtitles and your dictionary, then you can rewind and change it to Russian subtitles, and then you can read the translated version. But it's always good to use it with first the target language. You want to study in only the target language. So if you want to learn English, everything should be in English, and then you just use your dictionary to look up words you don't understand, and you can write them down. And if you're in a situation where you don't understand anything, then you can go back and try it again with the Russian subtitles to completely understand the phrase or word or something. Like if it's something like an idiom, it would be very hard to understand if you hadn't heard it before. So that's why sometimes to use the subtitles as a little help, that would be great. And in the end, you want to watch the movie with no subtitles and just listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one. Anyone else?
I have one question.
Yes.
What could you recommend me if I want to be judged to improve my English skills?
Oh yeah, you could try any of those apps we were talking about before. I think everyone mentioned a great deal of ways for studying English. I'll go back to that resources page for you, and you can take a look at it. Here you go. I recommend some of these resources, but everyone has what's good for them. But just try and speak, listen, read, and write. I think that's the best way. All right. Does anyone else have a question?
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So my question is there some difference between English history and American language history? Because we know that it's a lot of what is same, and is their history same?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure actually. I just know like why English has so many why it's changed so much from being a Germanic language to still it's got the same uh, Germanic language syntax, but it's got all these loan words in it, that kind of history. But as far as why our accents are so different, that I'm not sure of. But there is one interesting thing about the United States. We really don't have that much of a difference in our accents when you go from one place to another. However, I'm told that in the United Kingdom, the accent can change very much so. So that is one interesting thing, that when you go to the United States, actually most people sound pretty much the same. Of course, there are some accents, like many people from Texas speak with an accent, but I'm from Texas and I don't speak with an accent. So I think that's a pretty interesting example. Whereas what someone mentioned earlier, they took an IELTS test and their instructor had a Cockney accent, right? That is the specific London accent. And when you drive a short distance, then someone else will have a different accent. I think that is a very interesting and unique thing that is special to uh, the United Kingdom, or that is not similar to the United States. All
Thank
right, you got it. Does anyone else have a question?
I have a question.
Yes.
As I mentioned before, I really like to improve my writing skills, and I loved the advice that you gave us, like about to message, to have a comment. Yeah, and apart from that, like, do you have any advice for me about like writing skills, how to improve it? Like, I want to improve it more in academic way, like say to do it more harder. I don't know how to say, like scientific way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could just read academic journals and try to, I don't know, what is your major, or what are you interested in using your written language for?
Well, my major is two foreign languages faculty, but I wanted to, how to say, to have another major in psychology. That's why I want to have like essays in more scientific way.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, you can just go online and you can like basically look up some essay questions in a specific subject you're looking to learn. Psychology, there must be so much stuff on psychology. You could look at an essay question and then you could find an essay that was written with the responses in there. And then you can, I'm sorry, someone else is, has their microphone on. It's loud. You can basically see other people's responses and try to write responses like their responses. Another great way would be you can prepare for the GRE. Do you know about the GRE? There is a huge writing portion on that, and there are so many books that prepare you for academic writing like this. So you could consider a GRE preparation book. I think that would actually help a lot.
Thank you.
You got it. All right. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
When you got a major,
All right, I didn't hear any question there. Anyone else want to add something?
Yes, I have a question. Can I ask?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I want to know how to study effectively every day, 30 minutes or 3 times a week, for 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, I think that, oh, that's very hard to say. I think it's important to study every day. Like, I would say at least Monday through Friday. I would recommend Monday through Friday. And sometimes it can be hard to only study for 30 minutes. I recommend 1 hour. I think really like if you can do 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday, that would be so great. Or maybe you should try to do 45 minutes. If you think that is too much, I would recommend Monday through Friday for 45 minutes because 30 minutes, maybe you sit down, you open your book and you study a little bit and then it's over so fast. So yeah, that would be my recommendation would be 45 minutes because you need at least 15 minutes to review the previous content if you're doing like lessons, right? So yeah, that'll give you 30 minutes to really study. But of course, more is always better. All right, next question. I see Shinar. Shinar has had a
Hello,
hand
how are
raised.
you? I
Hello,
have one
hello.
question. I'm really, if someone's asked in the speaking time, for example, IELTS, someone asks some questions, it's hard to answer, not, for example, how do you get here? They asked me, but it's hard to answer. First, I think about how I really come there, what I ate before that time or like this, not using these words that I learned before. Is how I have to do. Could you help me?
Yeah, absolutely. And so one thing you could
Pick
do
some
is
topics. Yep.
you, oh, you mean some topics that they might ask you during the quiz?
Yes.
The exam?
It's for example, my level is B2, but I couldn't answer easy questions for easy questions. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, I would recommend you go on there and you find all of the topics. Then you just take those topics and you find a lesson based on each of the topics. You study all those lessons. Like, for example, one would be transportation, one would be meals and eating, you know, one would be studying, one would be like hobbies and interests, something like that. You can study those 4 lessons, then try the questions again, see if you learned some of those words you were missing before.
I'm asking like this. Is it fine I use just topics, words, or my some own lives?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Could you say one more time?
For example, never mind. I forgot it, but my question.
Excuse me one
All
moment.
right.
Nar,
Yeah. Think
videomuz
about it for a
geldi.
second.
Шынар. Okay, that's okay.
All right, everyone. Well, I think we're a little bit over time. I will take one more question if anyone else would like to ask a question. Anyone else want to say something? Or Shanar, if you want to continue what you were talking about, that's totally fine. Or if you had another question, anyone?
Could I ask you, excuse me, what is your name? I forgot. Austin, excuse me. Austin,
Yes, it
what
is Austin.
was your favorite fairy tale? Maybe in English, maybe, for example, it's French, maybe German, it doesn't matter. What was your first favorite fairy tale?
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Man, that's funny. For some reason, what comes to my head is Little Red Riding Hood. I'm sure everyone knows that one, right?
Yes,
Like that is the first one that comes to my mind. I don't know why, but yeah, I don't know. That's a very good question. Yeah, I guess.
Yes, yes. Continue.
Yeah, I guess that is one of the first one that comes to my head. Or Jack and the Beanstalk. I think Jack and the Beanstalk is a really great fairy tale. Yeah.
Beanstalk.
Yeah. Do you know this tale, Jack and the Beanstalk?
Yes, of course we know. Even I know. Even I watched the movie, cartoon, not movie, cartoon. That's why I ask this question, because in my experience, I think in every language, which one do you learn, or you just learn, you have to read these countries or this language fairy tale that will help you understand this nation, this language mentality. This is my opinion. And the first my English fairy tale was about Christmas tree. However, I read it in Kazakh, Hans
Very cool.
Christian Andersen, and I read it in Kazakh. And after them, I think I was maybe 9, maybe 10 years old. I think, oh, when I grow up, I will read it in English, and I read it in English. And of course, nowadays I started reading Harry Potter in English. It is the best, maybe favorite and famous book.
Oh yeah, Harry Potter is so great. All right, everyone. Well, that concludes the presentation. Thank you all so much for coming, and I'm so happy to see you all are so interested in learning English. And thank you for celebrating English Day with me. I'm going to pass it to Tim. Tim, did you want to say anything before we head out?
I just wanted to say thank you all. You guys are great. You're so active and talkative. So thank you for a great discussion. And if you want to watch the record of this session, please feel free to use YouTube, Kazakhstan American Corners. This is our YouTube channel. And please subscribe to our Instagram page, American Corner, and then you need to type your city. There are 10 American corners around Kazakhstan. So thank you, Austin. That was great presentation. I was making some notes for myself, and that was so informative. Thank you.
Hey, thank you all so much. And thank you, Tim. You guys have a great day, okay? See you next time.
Guys, Austin team also, it was very excellent and so talkative, really, with big and deep knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm late. Hello, I'm sorry. I'm on my way home driving a car. That's why I'm late. But I think that there will be a possibility, yes, to watch this. You said a video, yes?
Yes.
It's recorded.
YouTube, Kazakhstan American Corners.
YouTube, Kazakhstan American Corners. Thank you. Thank you. I'll find there.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.